To get a piece of advanced classical music memorized and ready to perform, us musicians often spend weeks or sometimes months working on a piece. But I thought, why waste all that time when you could do it in just 1 hour? At least that is what I'm going to attempt to do today. I'm going to set the clock for 1 hour and see how much of a piece of music I don't know, I've never played before, I can learn and memorize before the time is up. And yes, this is a bad idea. And no, you should not practice this way. Let's put an hour on the clock and get started. 3, 2, 1. This is a really bad idea, but it'll be fun. Go. My goal is to learn the entire first movement in 1 hour, and then, if all goes well, perform it for you at the end of the video. I felt really good about the beginning here and how much I got through in the first few minutes. At this point, it was looking like I had a real shot of learning the whole thing in 1 hour. Okay, then we split out. Okay, so the intro, all the way to E flat, start on E flat, then again on G. I'm pretty good at harmony, so the more that I can use it to aid the memory, the better. Same thing, but now, one note lower. We did go to there, now we're there. That's the same chord as earlier. Okay. So I'm trying to quickly drill some of these chords and the sound of them into my ear. Cool, just reverse order. Start from the C minor. Okay, so top note. 3 minutes in and I encountered my first challenge. Walk down from E flat, E flat. Nothing too horrible yet, but a little puzzle I had to solve. So 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. What I'm doing here is splitting the two right hand notes up separately and trying to teach my ear how each one sounds individually. This is a super important practice technique to actually encourage lots of you guys to do because it will help you understand what's actually going on in the passage. 5 minutes in, I decided to skip back to the beginning real quick and see how much I could do from memory. Work up and start on E flat. That one, then we go up, do this diminished, and then G. One note lower. That chord, then back up. Cool. But here in measure 14, I encountered my first real problem. It's gonna be hard. This is a really tricky part to put hands together. Even though it looks like I'm getting it, I realize this is going to be an extremely challenging part to play faster. Whoa, so that's there. Okay, I'm terrified of this part. This is going to be really hard. Walk down. You can see here I'm drilling it over and over again, but due to the limited amount of time I have, I decided to move on and circle back around later. I was really happy here because I had a little aha moment as I figured out something really cool Mozart did. That's our main melody. So main melody. On to a new section. Since this part is so straightforward harmonically, I chose to take a minute to quickly memorize the left-hand chords. Then try to get the sound of the right-hand melody in my ear. 2. I may not look that loud here, but in my head, I am screaming the names of chords, telling myself what they are and how they relate to each other. Just so you know here, my arm conducting has nothing to do with rhythm. But I'm trying to quickly burn into my brain details like direction and chromaticism of the melody. Higher. Trying to really feel where the notes go. Same idea, then higher. Check out this really cool transition. It's so subtle. In contrast to the challenging section earlier, this part here is kind of like freebie notes. It looks more flashy, but it's something I can almost memorize at a glance because it's so patterned. On one hand, things are going really great, but I kind of realized here that I might fail to make it through the entire piece in an hour. Oh, man, okay. This was a bad idea. It's not just the length, but there also might be just a limit of how many notes I can shove into my head in a short amount of time. Just for fun, after filming the video, I decided to go back and count how many notes I had memorized at this point of the video. It was already 600 notes. While stressing out a little bit, I realized I hadn't had any water in a little while. And more importantly for this challenge, coffee. Man, why does Mozart write like a new melody every 4 measures? Oh, I hate Mozart. Never liked this guy. Not true. Okay. Here I made an effort to say my thought process out loud for you so you could kind of come along for the journey and see how I memorized the line. Chromatic, over the top, chromatic, chromatic, jump right to E flat. Weird. Okay. And whenever I miss a note, I take a second to remind myself what it should have been. Over the top. Chromatic, chromatic, jump right to E flat. Okay. Ooh, nice. At that point, 4, 1, 5, 1. A consistent challenge with Mozart, honestly, is remembering where in the scales there are the chromatic notes. Okay. It was somewhere around this time that I completely dropped the idea of learning the second half of the piece and decided I would just focus all my efforts on the exposition. I admit my face looks a little stupid sometimes, but I'm actually doing it on purpose. By exaggerating the emotions to myself, I have a better shot at remembering the music. This is actually a good basic principle of memorizing. If I can relate all the notes to a strong emotion, I'm more likely to recall what those notes are when the time comes. At this point, I started doing several runs of the piece and then addressing specific issues that showed up. I figured if I was going to perform it for you all in 20 minutes, I better at least play through it a couple times. This is not a practice technique, just me panicking, making sure my mic was on. Could you imagine at this point realizing that my mic wasn't even on, having to start over? This is another really good practice tip for all of you. As you go back and practice old sections, always mentally go through your checklist. Don't just play the notes and be satisfied with that, but I'm constantly talking to myself and saying things like it starts on a C, next phrase starts on a G. One more shot. Okay, so, what do I do? Okay, this is 2 from. At the last minute here, I just jumped around to the hardest parts and tried giving it one good run through. All right, here we go. Time to put the music away and see if I memorized the Mozart Sonata in 1 hour. Off to a great start. This is a little slow right now. However, with all the challenging sections coming up, I know how to play this piece a little under tempo. Unfortunately, I never came back around and fixed this section. But that honestly wasn't a bad fake. Here's one of my favorite moments of the piece. This hand crossing here is one of the parts I was most worried about. It's actually not a hard part to play at all. I just had a really tough time memorizing it. You can see me trying to recall the notes with the emotions on my face. Whew, that was close. I was pretty confident about these last 15 seconds. That honestly went a lot better than I thought it would. I'm obviously a little disappointed that I had to cut out part of the piece and I only made it up to the exposition, but I really want to bring attention to a huge positive that I didn't even think about would be here until I got like 10, 15, 20 minutes into this project. By me kind of speed running, spending an hour and trying to really dive in deep into these notes from the beginning, I learned some really cool stuff like that, like how that melody came back there, this really cool chord progression here. That's a nice sound. Okay, if you really enjoyed seeing me go through all this stress, let me know in the comments if you want to see more videos like this, and maybe even drop a few suggestions of pieces you want to see me try out. And for me, my brain is totally fried, so I will see you guys in the next video.